Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account. It's got a shorter first part with a longer update, and it's titled, Ex-Fiance wants to meet up after leaving me at the altar 4 years ago. Basically, 4 years ago, I, female 29, was supposed to be getting married to my fiance at the time, Jay. Everything was going perfect. I was in my dress, had my makeup on and taking pictures with my bridesmaids. I was pretty much ready to walk down the aisle when Jay's best man pulled me to the side and said Jay was gone. He'd gone into a car and left, and no one was able to get a hold of him. I came home to our apartment and all his stuff was gone. He's been pretty much a ghost ever since he left me. I had to force myself to move on. I ended up going on our honeymoon with my best friend, which was the best decision ever, and then put myself into therapy to heal the horrible trust issues I now have. I haven't heard from him once until today. I guess he got back in contact with an old mutual friend who gave him my number. Jay texted me and said he wants to meet up and apologize. He said he has a lot to explain to me about what happened that day. I'm torn. I swore Jay was a dead memory, but my curiosity and desire to get closure with him is pestering me. My current boyfriend supports me whatever I decide, and I feel out of respect to him and how wonderful he's been, I should just ghost Jay. I'm very confused. I never expected to hear from Jay again. I have no idea what to do. Please help. Now, I already know what I would do or would want to do if it was me in this situation, just because of the way I am, but I think it's a very, very personal choice and what you want to get out of it if you want to meet him. Can you walk away from this and not think about it again, or will it haunt you in the future and you want to know the reasons? I know for myself that I would want to know the reasons. Regardless of what it is, I would want to know what happened, otherwise it would bug me down the line. Even though in reality you're probably not going to hear anything that really helps you apart from getting closure. It'd probably be just him trying to get rid of his guilt, if you like. So I really just think it's going to come down to that closure. But Noob says, what can he say to you that will improve your current situation? At best, tells you he was a coward and that he regrets that he put you through that pain. But that is the best case scenario. He could complain about how you drove him to make that decision. He could place the blame for it on loss of attraction to you because you did X, Y, and Z. He could beg you to take him back. I think you've moved on. This invitation is to give himself some peace. You don't owe him anything. And yeah, and that's what I was kind of saying on the guilt thing, that, you know, it's just to give him some peace. Chick replies that saying this: I had a situation right after high school where someone who I thought cared about me ghosted me and left me in an awful situation that I had to go through on my own. 20 years later, and he contacts me out of the blue wanting to meet up so he can apologize and explain himself. We were both married with kids at this point, and I believe he has told his wife about the situation and she was encouraging him to get closure. He obviously felt like shit all these years about what he had done. He kept messaging saying he's going to be in my state and he just wants to talk in person. I stressed so much about this meetup. It brought up so many old wounds. Finally, I realized that all of this was about him making himself feel better and unburdening himself of all the guilt he's felt. Why was I turning myself inside out to accommodate his journey of self? Fuck that. I told him I had moved on and wished him the best and never spoke to him again. And like I said, I don't disagree with that comment as well. This is why I think it's a very, very personal choice, because if you can move on and not think about it again, absolutely. But if it will give OP any kind of closure as well, regardless of it him healing himself, I think, you know, I would probably do it just because I'm curious anyway. A deleted user says, well, no one can decide this for you. Don't worry about what your boyfriend thinks. He supports you. The unfortunate thing here is that you don't know if you're going to come away from a meeting like this with more closure, or if you're going to come away from it distraught, because the excuse he gives is a whole lot of nothing. Would it be easier to have a phone call or a text? I'll go to the meeting just to hear the apology and find out what he has to say. Then I would close the door just to make sure he knows I don't want any more contact. Or you can do the petty thing and ghost him right back. My question is, what the hell is with your mutual friend who gave him your number? I would talk to this person and ask them what their intentions are. usually you would ask someone, hey, is it okay if I give XYZ your number for such and such purpose? And you would say yay or nay. Did you give permission for this? That person owes an explanation too. Let us know what you decide to do. We support you either way. Also, I kind of want to know what his reason was too. There are like literally 100 million moments before you get to the altar to realize you don't want to commit just then. What the heck? And let's have one more from Big Rotten Tuna, who says he isn't doing this for you. He's doing it for himself. He just wants to apologize to make himself feel better. Otherwise, he could have written this apology and then offered to give you an apology in person. You should take the same approach. Is there anything good you can get from meeting with him? If not, then decline. Tell him he is welcome to send you a letter, or just ghost him. He really deserves nothing from you. So OP updated the post, which said, first off, I just want to thank everyone for the advice. I honestly wrote the post just to vent my frustration and confusion and possibly get advice. I honestly forgot about the post for a few days until my sister and I were talking, and she mentioned she saw a post from some girl getting left at the altar and X showing up again years later. I told her it was mine, and she'd been pushing me to do an update post. I figured it might be therapeutic to write everything down as final closing of the J chapter. This all happened 2 weeks ago. Against most of the advice, I did meet up with Jay. As a lot of you said, it did not add any value to my life. Also, it was part of a 12-step program, and he was making amends. We met up at a park and my boyfriend came with me. He sat off to the side while Jay and I talked. I actually felt stupider after meeting with him. There were a lot of things in our relationship that would have had me out the door if I paid more attention and if he wasn't such a great liar. Basically, for the last year of our relationship, he was doing drugs and cheating on me. He had been struggling with his sexuality for years, and it's not surprising it ended up this way now, knowing the truth. His family are incredibly homophobic and horrible people. I wanted nothing to do with them when we were together, but he insisted on them being around just for the big life events, like our wedding. The drugs were something to get him through the day, and act like he was in love with me when he was actually in love with someone else. He had met his boyfriend at work, and I actually had met him a few times when I'd drop off lunch for Jay. When our wedding approached, his boyfriend said he needed to choose, and Jay chose him. So he packed his bags up and pretended everything was great until his boyfriend picked him up and they moved 2 towns over. I asked him if he was still living with his boyfriend, and he said no. He thought he could quit the drugs once he was free of his family and lying, but he couldn't. His boyfriend found out and left him. He kept going, getting high and hooking up with randoms. One of his regular hookups ended up overdosing while they were asleep in the same bed and died, and he realized he had to get sober. He apologized for not just being honest with me and leading me on like he did. He wished he could go back and be truthful because I would have been the most accepting of him being gay out of everyone. He said he missed me when he left because even though he didn't love me romantically, I was his best friend. It was a lot to take in. I told him while I'm glad he's okay and is doing better, I'd prefer for us not to have any contact moving forward, but I do forgive him. He said he understood and he was only in town for a few more days and he'd be gone for good again. I'll admit when I got home, I cried. My boyfriend held me and ordered me my favorite takeout. He's been really the best and didn't pressure me to talk about anything until I was ready. So if I got anything out of the worst day of my life, it's led me to who I'm with now. So now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? What would you have done if you was in OP's position? Would you have met up with that ex to find out the reason why, or would you have moved on and not given it a second thought? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next post comes from 184-71929, who says, my girlfriend, 21 female, just gave me permission to sleep with other girls while she is away, as long as I, 22 male, don't tell her about it. I've been with my girlfriend for over 2 years, and we've been best friends for about 4 years. 3 weeks ago, she left for a 30-person environmental research expedition, and she has 4 weeks left. Because of limited service, we can talk about once a day. Last night, out of nowhere, she said that if I wanted to be physical or have sex with other girls while she was away, she'd be perfectly okay with it. The only conditions are that I have to tell her if it's something I'll consider, and I can't tell her if I ever do anything. I said no and asked if she offered because she wants to be physical with someone on a trip. She denied it. We continue the conversation, and it's clear that if I say yes, then we can both sleep with other people while away and not tell each other. I said that I would prefer her to tell me if we did this, and she tried to convince me that that was a bad idea. She wanted everything to be a secret for both of us. Again, I say it isn't something I want. She reaffirms that it isn't even something she considered for herself, just for me. Being the sneaky guy I am, after we said goodnight, I logged into her Facebook. Bad, I know. A conversation from earlier in the day between her and an old hometown friend revealed that she really likes a guy on her trip and constantly has dreams of having sex with him. She also says how they spent all day together every day doing research. It's clear to me she was trying to trick me into allowing that option so she could have a 4-week romance with this guy. She tried to make it seem like it was only for me, but she just doesn't care if I fuck other people. She just wants to fuck this guy with a clear conscience. Is my conclusion right? Even though she hasn't cheated yet, is this relationship doomed because she's a sneaky person that wants to hide her affairs from me? Like, what the fuck? And the first comment came in from Inky Pinky Blinky Clyde, who says she's going to sleep with him no matter what you say. NFL says, yeah, you nailed it. Sorry man, I'd bring it up as soon as you talk to her next. Admit to reading through her messages and know that you weren't in the wrong. You suspected something because of how she brought that up. Don't let her shame you for her ways. Zorkel says, it's a trap. One or two things will happen, or maybe both. She will sleep with other guys while she's away, because that's fair. You have permission to sleep with other people, so should she, even if you never act on it. If you do act on it, expect as much guilt should she find out. How could you? I never really expected you to do it. And one more from Drunk Diabetic, who says, I know this seems weird, but it is actually pretty normal for your age when it comes to trips. I studied abroad in Japan for 6 months, and out of my entire male dorm, 15 guys in relationships, only 2 people stayed loyal to their significant other. Myself and one other guy, and we both got cheated on. I guess all the fun and thrill of being young and away just gets to people. I saw a few people with the open door closed information relationship you mentioned, and they spent a lot of time concerned with what their partner was doing. The more promiscuous they were, the more they got worried about their partner doing the same thing, ironically. Anyway, if you want to get into this kind of thing, know it comes with its share of problems and should probably be decided soberly, face to face and over multiple conversations. Then OP updated this post saying, so I called and confronted her about the messages. She confessed that our relationship had been hard the last few days because of fighting, and she had a dream about having sex with this guy and woke up with crazy feelings for him. She said in her messages confirmed that she felt super terrible about having those feelings at all and took steps today to separate herself from him because she felt so guilty. She then said that the open relationship offer wasn't to sneakily fuck this guy, but instead was because she didn't want me to have to go through those conflicted feelings. As in, if I ever had feelings for a girl, she wants me to fuck her. As long as I don't tell her and she's away. So during the conversation, I ate that shit up because I'm blindly in love and really just want to believe her. But as I write this down, holy fuck, I'm dumb. Now, what would you do in OP's position? Do you believe that there was more going on than it was just a dream? Some of the comments suggest, that's what she's going to do regardless of what OP says. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is titled, Am I the Arsehole for Confronting a Close Friend After She Recounted a Bullying Experience from Me on My Wedding Day? And just before we get into it, this one does have a pronunciation of a name, Jana. And I know it can be pronounced a couple of ways, either Jana or Yana. I'm going to go for Yana in this one. I just wanted to clear that up front. I, 28 female, just recently got married last week. And from the title of this post, you can see that I am not really the best person. I have a close friend who we'll call Yana, 28 female. Yana and I have not always been friends. In high school, I constantly teased her, calling her the nerd of the class because I was an insecure ass. She got really good grades. Maybe because I teased her, other people also started teasing her on her grades. She had confronted me privately about this, and I did stop teasing her after that since I got embarrassed. The class probably thought that it was an old joke now and stopped too. It was in college we finally became close. We saw each other at a reunion and we realized that our universities were near. Since then, we regularly hung out and we became close friends. I invited her to my wedding as a bridesmaid and she gladly accepted. During the wedding toast, she recounted the bullying she went through from me, saying, I can't believe we're friends, even though you bullied me all throughout high school. I don't know if she was joking when she said that. I've made my best effort to make it up to her and apologized time and time again. She accepted my apology each time, and even laughing off that I was overthinking. I thought we finally put the past behind us. After the toast, I was hurt and confused, but decided to talk to her later because I wanted to enjoy my wedding. But during the party, my sister/maid of honor came up to me worried, saying that there have been a lot of people asking Yana about the bullying, and she was detailing every single thing I said. I had my sister get Yana and I talked to her privately in the back, asking why she brought up the bullying, and she got offended. She said that she was just telling the truth. I replied that it was okay to talk about this, but at least on a different time and situation. She called me an arsehole for invalidating her feelings because it was true that I bullied her. I ended up crying and she walked out. Now there are rumors that I bullied her again after some people saw Yana walking out. My in-laws have also inquired about the matter too and have been quite cold to me, even though I've already explained the matter. My mum, sis and husband are on my side, but a few friends from my circle said that I had to deal with the consequences of my past actions. I understand that I really hurt her, but I really thought we've moved past this, or at least would bring it up again, privately, instead of in front of a whole crowd. I just don't think that it was the right time and place given that our relationship is quite close, and she never brought it up again in the 7 years we've been friends. Am I the arsehole? No Balance says, I don't know, the way you write it, I'm inclined to take your side. However, for her to go to these lengths, I have to wonder how bad the bullying actually was. OP replies saying, I understand. I hope this makes it clearer. Yana is quite the introvert. I've known her since grade school and she lives a few blocks away from my neighborhood, but we don't talk. In high school, we were put in the same class. I am an extrovert and at the time I didn't think Yana and I would go well together, so I didn't give her any mind. I think she expected me to reach out to her first since we knew each other and she didn't have much friends. I didn't do anything to make her feel included since I wasn't really interested. I was quite popular in high school and I acknowledged that because of the offhanded comment I said about her always getting the high grades on exams and called her the nerd. Everyone started calling her that too. I don't know if there was any physical bullying involved when others teased her, but in my case, I teased her every time the teacher handed out our papers after a test. Others would also make some side comments after. When she confronted me about this in senior year, she said that she didn't want to deal with this nerd thing anymore because she didn't want it to affect her grades. She said that I was being a jealous bitch and I should just fuck off. I laughed it off and didn't apologize because I was embarrassed, but I didn't call her that anymore. We became friends 2 years later after a high school get-together during sophomore year, where I was called out by a close friend about the bullying in high school. I apologized to her and she was the first one to suggest that we start hanging out, to which I agreed. I learned she wasn't as gloomy as I thought, so we became close and hung out regularly. I also met my boyfriend, now husband, at her uni, so I always went over to their uni to hang out. The lady Elbereth says, not the arsehole. Bullying her was wrong, but you know this already and apologized for it. She nursed a grudge as much as she denied it. This was her punishing you publicly, for you to feel ashamed and embarrassed on one of the biggest occasions of your life. Since you got upset with her, she can say you were mean to her for ignoring that she was in pain and focusing on being in pain yourself, essentially gaslighting you. She's not on a fact-finding mission. She wants your loved ones to think badly of you. Don't be surprised if she ghosts you or is no longer your friend after this. She hasn't acted like it despite arsehole teen years. You seem like you were genuinely remorseful, but that probably didn't seem to be enough for her. I'm sorry your family is cold to you now. How much you wish you could take your behavior back and try to make things right over the years. Nessie says she played a good game here. How you should have handled it was to call her out and pretty much say, I know I was an awful person back then and my behavior was seen as bullying. I like to think I've grown as a person since then and luckily we have this beautiful friendship where I'm spending a precious day with you. Hope you forgive my past self for her bad choices. Passive aggressive mode down, but yeah, she played you good, not the arsehole. OK Upstairs says everyone sucks here. I disagree with forgiveness being banded about like a blanket forgetfulness. She made a joke in poor taste at your wedding, but if you were stung, that means you know you did her way worse, and that you probably deserve it. That's the history that you can't whitewash, so you have to sit with the discomfort that yes, you were a bully, and you don't get to live it down on your wedding day. Boo-hoo. And the final comment from Key Transition 6036 who says, I want to say everyone sucks here. You know you were the arsehole then, but the question is if Yana is the arsehole now. That is a hard question to answer. It sounds like she's been waiting to do this since high school, to get revenge. It's clear that this is what it was. She was successful in ruining your wedding. Was your bullying bad enough to warrant such a long game? This is like out of a movie. You entirely needed to make amends. Did you do it to her satisfaction at a previous date? Has there been a reckoning, or did you take her silence as forgiveness? What kind of person are you today? Can you honestly say you've reformed? Yana was an arsehole. Just can't say if she was a justified arsehole. Edit. You handled the confrontation at the wedding well. You took her off privately, so for the day of, I'll go not the arsehole. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, support, and time always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good